Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace. Coming up this afternoon, shortage of petroleum products hits some depots across the country, with a few bulk oil distribution companies now holding stocks. Also coming up, government insists 2025 mini budget will be laid in Parliament before House goes on Christmas break, as it rejects reports of trying to put incoming government in a tight corner. Plus, International Arbitration Court reaches decision on the $400 million tax charge against Tallow oil by the Ghana Revenue Authority. My name is Daryl Kwao. Details coming up. Thanks for staying with us, everyone. First up, some of the depots across the country have been hit by a shortage of petroleum products, with a few bulk oil distribution firms now holding stocks. However, the situation is being managed in a way that it has not reached the various service stations across the country yet. More in the following Business Desk report.
Joy Business is learning that the challenge had come due to some issues with the bulk oil storage and transportation company. Industry sources have told Joy Business that some of the bulk oil distribution companies that stored their products with Bosch are now struggling to get their stocks because those products have been used. Now, Bosch is also struggling to get fresh supplies for these bulk distributors due to their challenging financial situation. Most of the bulk oil distribution firms have now resorted to emergency imports to deal with the situation. Some will also want to link the situation to political interference in the whole fuel distribution chain and challenges with the Good for Oil program. Well, to ensure the situation is brought under control and avoid queues at the service stations, the National Petroleum Authority has moved quickly to direct some of the bulk oil distribution firms to some depot in some parts of the country. This limited supply challenge may once again rob consumers from enjoying up to 2% reduction in prices of petroleum products at the pumps this week. This is because some of the bulk oil distribution companies have reviewed their payment terms for the oil marketing companies when it comes to product supply.
Now, government is insisting that the 2025 budget will be laid before Parliament before the House goes on a Christmas break. Government sources tell Joy Business the Finance Minister, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, failed to lay the expenditure in advance of appropriation yesterday because of some last-minute revisions that had been made to the document. It has also been rejecting reports that it is trying to punish the incoming administration over the minority's failure to approve tax exemptions. Parliament will be approving more than 68 billion cedis for government to spend in the first 3 months of 2025. Now, key among this expenditure will be payment of salaries of public sector workers. Let's go onto the phone line right now, speak with parliamentary correspondent Kweku Asante for more on what's happening in Parliament today. Kweku, so will we get to see the mini budget laid before Parliament today? Anything you're hearing?
Daryl, it's 6 minutes past 1 p.m. The Finance Minister, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, is still not in Parliament yet. In fact, about 12:30, the Speaker of Parliament did ask whether or not the government was ready to lay this document before the House. the government was not ready. The indication that was given by Habib Idrisu, the first deputy majority whip, was that the finance minister was not yet in the house. He did not give any indication whether or not at all it will come. In fact, at some point, they asked for a suspension of sitting for nearly an hour so that they can get the minister or any other person so properly authorized to come and deliver this document to Parliament. So, Daryl, yet again, the third day since Parliament started sitting, and there is no movement on the media budget review that the mini budget that the finance minister is expected to put before the House.
What else is the House considering today?
Well, there are a number of bills that the House will have to cater for. They've used this opportunity without a minister to deal with them. We've just passed the Ghana Boundary Commission bill. They are moving on to the EPA bill, Environmental Protection Authority bill, which they are working on currently. They are looking forward to approving same in the next hour or two, all working in such a way that in the next hour or two, they can get the finance minister to come and present the mini budget. But there is no sign, there's no indication, and there's no assurance.
All right, thank you for the update, Kweku Asante, our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent. Appreciate the update. Well, an international arbitration court in London has reached a decision on the $400 million tax charge against Tallow by the Ghana Revenue Authority. Here's more in this report.
Tallow Oil disclosed this in an investor update to the market, which is stated that it has received communications from the International Chamber of Commerce that the arbitration court is ready with its draft ruling on the current tax dispute with the Ghana Revenue Authority. Tallow Oil took the issue to the international courts after raising some concerns with the $400 million tax charge against them, covering their operations over the past years. But the Ghana Revenue Authority also insisted that it stands by its work on the operations of Tallow in Ghana. For some, if this ruling goes against Tallow Oil, it could cripple their operations going forward. This is because it is coming at a time that Tallow Oil is already struggling to manage negative investor as a result of Cosmos Energy announcing that it is no longer interested in acquiring the company. This has seen its share price on the London Stock Exchange decline by more than 8%.
All right, some news downstream. Executive Director of Trinity Oil Company Limited, also Vice Chairman of the LPG Marketers Association of Ghana, Gabriel Kumi, has been elected as Board Chairman of the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies following elections held on the 13th of December for a new leadership. A statement from the Chamber said the new leadership reflects collective decision of members, and the Chamber expressed confidence in the expertise and dedication of the new leadership in advancing the objectives of the Chamber. Gabriel Kumi is a distinguished chartered marketer and holds a master's degree in entrepreneurship from the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration. With a robust background in professional marketing and entrepreneurship, Mr. Kumi brings over 25 years of hands-on practical experience in the Ghanaian beverage and downstream oil marketing and distribution industries. Also, Philip Tieko of Star Oil was elected Vice Chairman of the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies. We've got some more news for you. The Ghana Chamber of Construction has held a consultative forum to address climate adaptation strategies for sustainable infrastructure development. According to the chairman of the chamber, Emmanuel Mate, the establishment of a construction sector regulator will facilitate sustainable construction practices. There's more in the following report.
The Ghana Chamber of Construction Stakeholder Consultative Forum focused on the theme Climate Adaptation Strategies in Sustainable Infrastructure Development, the role of construction sector players. The chairman of the chamber, Surveyor Emmanuel Mate, emphasized the importance of sustainability in infrastructure development.
We need to confront the issue of climate, especially climate change, and its impacts on infrastructure development. It is therefore becoming extremely important that we advert our minds to the driving forces and barriers to achieving comprehensive sustainable infrastructure development, and thereby adopt appropriate strategies or mechanisms so as to fill the knowledge gap and whatever gap that exists.
Executive Chairman of AB and David Associates, Dr. David Ofusudate, highlighted the need for policies that incentivize environmentally friendly projects.
If in granting building permits, we had policies that encouraged those who design green buildings to actually have lower permit fees, it's an incentive to ensure that persons or architects who are involved in the design of buildings are not only considering green buildings, but they know that there is an incentive and the developers will have a lower permit. Or, for example, the permit approval may be faster.
Nana Dr. Epieje Dankawoso, President General of the West African Nobles Forum, underscored the urgency of implementing regulations to govern the sector effectively.
Must be a regulator for road construction, for building construction, and the greens around it. At the end of the day, it's about the people, it's about our lives, and it's about, sustainability. Advise the new government to look at all these policies, bring them together, and make sure that we have an institution, one particular institution, that regulates all these developments in our society.
The Stakeholder Forum brought together experts from various sectors to discuss strategies for adapting to climate challenges and ensuring sustainable development in the construction industry.
Now, stakeholders in the environmental sector have highlighted the importance of maximizing waste to drive economic empowerment. The advocacy took center stage during the launch of Recycle Up Ghana's 10th anniversary celebration held at Issa Conference Hall at the University of Ghana. Joining us, Kenneth Auchidako has more.
Recycle Up Ghana has since 2014 empowered the youth to develop local solutions to environmental and societal challenges. The organization's 10th anniversary celebration brought together stakeholders in the environmental and entrepreneurship sectors, showcasing green solutions to pressing issues. Speaking to Joy News, project coordinator for the Recycle Up incubation program, Faustina Adoma-Komensa, stressed the importance of viewing recycling as a viable avenue for job creation and entrepreneurship development.
We have one of our projects, that's the Recycle Up Incubator Program, where we send out applications to people who have interest in the circular economy to also come out with their idea, their fresh ideas. Because their ideas is to take waste from the environment and to transform it into something useful. So when they come to the Recycle Up Incubator Program, we train them to refine those ideas to create a business that is sustainable, a business that can create jobs for other people, a business that is taking out the waste that would have polluted the environment.
The incubation program, currently in its 5th cohort, is nurturing participants to devise groundbreaking ways to maximize waste utilization while promoting financial inclusion. One of the keynote speakers was the chairperson of Ghana Hubs Network, Yao Idujemfi. He praised Recycle Up Ghana for its efforts in advancing the green economy and fostering sustainability through impactful initiatives.
Hubs provide a safe space for young people to come and learn, to be able to hone their ideas, hone their talent, provide a space for skills building, which is very important, and for Recycle Up, provide a space for green innovation, circular economy issues, and to turn problems into opportunities, which is very important, which is what we need in Ghana at the moment, where you have people who are empowered, especially young people who are empowered to be able to turn problems into opportunities. And in that opportunities, we're able to create jobs for young people who need it most. And I like the fact that these jobs are not just in the cities, but these jobs are also spread across the country. I mean, if you've seen their impact, you could tell that you have the empowering, older women, the empowering young women, the empowering, school children, which is very important, and it's powerful.
Recycle Up Ghana also published handbooks that will guide the teaching of the youth about waste management. The theme for the event was Journey Towards Sustainability, reflecting and celebrating 10 years of progress. Kenneth Auchidakos reports for Joy News.
And you're watching The Marketplace. Short break. When we come back, let's talk tech. Well, welcome back to The Marketplace. Time for Let's Talk Tech. Gradually, the year is drawing to a close, and so we want to do 2024 in review, looking at the big tech stories of 2024. And guess what? Joining me in studio, Henry Kobler, lead for Eyes of Africa. The first time in how many years?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, he's in studio with me to look at some of the big tech stories of the year 2024 and how they're going to shape the tech industry going into the next year. So welcome, good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
I want us to start with artificial intelligence, sure. Right? The ascendancy of AI. Talk to us about the developments we've seen in 2024, how they're going to shape 2025.
Thank you very much, Niall. It's good to be here. So 2024 has been great. I mean, with AI coming in huge, I mean, almost everybody is basically doing a lot of integrations. Fortunately, I was in California. I had to be in project management conference. I mean, even as various as project management has like almost every tool embedded with AI, every single part. I mean, every emailing systems that we're using right now has a bit of AI in there. Unfortunately, I would say basically comes in as generative AI. And so it's more about feeding most of these intelligence with data that already exists. But again, it's basically the foundations to which we're going to see quite a lot of these innovations coming into play. For me, it's a start of very great systems, but it's also a point where a lot of people are not really taking advantage of it, but are basically just doing a lot of talk about it.
How are we doing in Ghana, though? I mean, there was this whole talk of a framework to guide the use of AI in the country. What progress have we made?
I don't think that we made too much progress. We've just been dependent on the international systems that are basically available. I don't think that there's been any laws or policies basically placed in to help the directions where we get to benefit or get to be protected against any of the data that we sort of generate here and put on the internet. And so for me, I don't think that we're really doing too much, but I'm guessing that there should be a proper framework that should come into play. The other players that are within the industry could start looking at coming together, foreign forums and all of that, and then pushing the agenda. I think we can do well.
All right, next big story. It actually started in 2023 when some global tech firms were doing massive layoff of staff just so they can rationalize the operations. And we saw what happened here in the Twitter Ghana office where some people lost their jobs. But in February of this year, they finally got compensation. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so they had some level of compensations after Twitter, which now becomes X, basically had been rolled off from Elon Musk coming in. And then they had to just let go of the Ghana office, which was a very sad one for us. But again, that's his radical means to taking up a company and basically shaping it. I thought it was a good move, relatively was to our disadvantage, but I thought that we had not placed in a lot of protections in that regard for people that are sort of working here for international companies and even remotely as well. And so for me, I think that it was a good move for him and the company. It's basically going well. There was a lot of talkbacks and all of that. It was going to go down. It's still like major, played a very huge role in the elections of the US. And I think that it was a bad one, but they have been compensated. I think that we should have taken some level of cues in there, pushed in some labor laws to sort of do protections, but we've still not done that. But I guess that will come into play for us.
And we've not heard so much from them afterwards. But I mean, the disappointment, I guess, was that, I mean, there was so much excitement when Twitter decided they were going to set up an office in Ghana, and then they closed it. And so there are concerns, well, are we going to see global tech firms, you know, try to set up in Ghana, in Africa? What's been the trend like since what happened in 2023?
I can tell you, I think that there's been a loose point of bringing these international companies in and getting them. I've seen quite a number of them here and around, recruiting and all of that. I don't think that we've cushioned ourselves for any of these shocks that had come in. We've not learned any lessons, but I think that we can basically be doing quite good in there. The labor laws should really be looked at. I think that it's sort of a cake. There are a lot of remote working conditions that are not favoring us, tax conditions that do not get to be beneficial to us. When I was setting up a bank account in the US, I had been asked that if I do pay tax. I relatively said no, because again, there's no direct policy that really ties me to it, because I felt I was paying taxes there again as well. So I think that the labor laws are sort of a bit loose, and a cake could actually be revamped. That there are new points, social media, influencer jobs and all of them coming into play. I mean, they don't need to be here. They're still recruiting people. They're still getting money for people here. And so I feel that there should be some level of revamp.
Next big one, the impact of social media on elections around the world. We saw what happened in the US. I mean, I think a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about Ghana and the impact of social media as well. Tell us what social media did to elections around the world. I mean, let's consider the US, let's consider Ghana as well.
For me, social media has really played a huge role, especially for both of these elections in Ghana and in the US. I mean, Elon, like I had mentioned the other time, sits at the back of Twitter, sees a lot of data, understands what bots are doing, what are generative AIs are pushing into the systems, and what are real tweets or people really saying out of emotions and all. And he basically had made his thumbs up for Trump, which went well for him again, and he's still doing that push necessarily to push that administration. Same with influencers. I saw a lot of influencers on TikTok, especially because it's more visual, more video. They could express themselves, they could express their frustrations, they could have most of these policies being explained, I mean, to the barest minimum for most of the leaders, most of the youth that are here. And I think that it did well, influenced our elections. And I'm thinking that that's sort of a way to go. And people even just getting to generate some level of money from it, which is very exciting.
And we cannot forget the subsea cable incident with disrupted data services across the country. I remember that day so well.
Yeah, very. I had my fair share of it. I had issues with my clients really coming in. But I think that, again, like I'd mentioned, we've not really learned too much from it. I don't think that we have too much of cushions around.
Why do you say we've not learned so much?
Because, again, after that incident, I have not seen any alternatives being provided apart from saying we've allowed Starlink into the country. I mean, what benefits are we really getting? Are we really putting that level of infrastructure, not just for internet cables, but even for our service? I mean, I know that there's a tier server that is for the government that is available. Do we have backup systems that are all? What are the cybersecurity pointers that are all over? Like, I want to see some level of aggressiveness, policies that are coming. Our data centers, I mean, our national IDs. Like, I can get that anybody who is in position could defend and say that, hey, we have the best of systems. But do we see a progressive point where we're saying that these are sort of protected? There are a lot of publications. We're seeing the crime rates that are hitting up. We're seeing reports of crimes that are hitting onto most of our service and our telecom services. I haven't seen, say, the telecom networks release a statement to say this year we've had 22 million fraud cases coming in, and these are how we sort of solved it and all of that. And so for me, again, it's more about transparency, opening up the system, getting people to talk, engagement as well. And I think that we can make some level of progress.
Right. The talk of outages, we had a major tech outage across the world. There was widespread disruption. I remember that day we covered it. Flights were disrupted, services in some financial institutions. Thankfully, there was little impact here in Ghana.
Yeah, very, very little. I had the opportunity to be in Los Angeles airport, and I had seen their systems and then how they've made alternative systems in place to basically curb some of these, because that's like one of the most busiest airport in the US. And I'd seen some level of, conscious effort to say, when we're having these attacks, because it was more like a security attack, what do we do? How do we care about? Where do we jump in? And I feel it's more amazing in what I experienced. I'm thinking that we would actually have similar and same in Ghana, except that we really think that we do not have a lot of data, where we do have a lot of data. If you're out there and you listen to the conversations, everybody thinks Africa is like the big thing. And so if it's the big thing, how are they seeing that it's a big thing? It's because of data. And so we still do have a lot of data, and I think that we should actually peg ourselves to be protected, especially for security. I feel that a lot of the universities should also look into cybersecurity education as well. I think it will do us some good.
Cryptocurrency boom, especially after Donald Trump's election win, hitting record levels. Tell us about it.
Dara, so I told you I'd get you that.
Thank you.
That's a hardware wallet. It's a start for usually a lot of people I talk to get into cryptocurrency. The simple reason is this: this keeps your this keeps your this keeps your cryptocurrency safer. It's offline. So if you're buying a Bitcoin or Ethereum or any other thing, it stays here. Nobody cares about it, and you're like in super safe. The last time which we spoke, in the point of the U.S. election, Bitcoin was just hovering around 50,000. Today is 107,000. Wow. So just between the U.S. elections and today, we've had that massive point. Now, the whole year, we've actually had 144% on Bitcoin alone. Like, I don't think no investment whatsoever in Ghana is going to give you like almost about 30% more in terms of investment. And that's a thing that we've actually been speaking about almost about the last 4 years, where we say people can get into crypto with some level of knowledge, with some level of investment, and being careful and not greedy. And so for me, it's a point where we have to start looking into it. Trump is saying, hey, I'm deep into this. That should give you a clue that if the superpowers of the nation says that I'm deep into crypto, nobody can really stop it. And I think that we should actually be getting to. I see you're excited, but I
really am. Yeah. All right. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Thank you so much, Henry, for coming through to the studio. We should do that more often in 2025.
I will.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. We'll be back same time tomorrow. I'm just trying to figure out how this works. But hey, we'll be back tomorrow. Don't go anywhere.